COSATU's 14th National Congress is currently underway in Midrand, north of Johannesburg. At the moment, General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, Mapaila, on the podium. We certainly will bring you that address as soon as we're able to get a feed to it. As you may know, the SACP, very much an alliance partner of COSATU. And we've also yesterday seen the ANC leadership at least attempt to address COSATU in this Congress. Let's go there live now.
SACP is not ready to stand for elections. Let me put it in one simple sentence. The SACP is ready. Now, to say the SACP is ready, this is very important. Is the SACP is ready, full stop. Take it there. Okay. Any other thing, it's a matter of engagement. The Congress of the party was clear about this matter. We have raised issues that we must still discuss with our alliance partners, because we are not sectarian or isolationist. We work within a revolutionary movement, and therefore the agenda for the revolutionary movement remains the most valid agenda if properly implemented in our country. We have laid out an engagement process. That is why our Congress has given us until December to come out clear on the next course of action we will take. So don't ever say the SACP is not ready. That is incorrect. The SACP is ready. The issue is, in its readiness, is the working class ready? We're not going to go into debate. We'll debate with you when we are in that consultation process before December to get to know whether the working class is ready. But don't take any decision on the basis that the SACP is ready, because that will be incorrect. The SACP is ready. It has always been ready. It has never been found wanting when it came to the working class struggles. We have always taken the most difficult task of the revolution as the SACP. We were the first to go out and launch armed struggle against the apartheid regime. As the SACP. We established Umkhonto weSizwe way before the ANC came, or military combat, way before the ANC came about. We jointly established Umkhonto weSizwe. It was not just established by the African National Congress on its own and our allies. And even in battles, that's why our three general secretaries, from Moses Mabhida, Joe Slovo, Chris Hani, were senior leaders of our military struggle. They never shied away from this difficult responsibility. We will never shy away from any difficult responsibility of the revolution. But we want to do so without ourselves reversing the gains of the revolution. Because today, comrades, let's be clear. On Thursday, I was on my way to Mozambique to go and see our Frelimo party, our movement, the heroic movement that has never enjoyed peace since liberation, that has carried us over the years. On my way there, I hear that there's a change of the mayor of Nelson Mandela, who sponsored the motion, the Freedom Front. I mean, really, how is it possible that a most right-wing party can sponsor a motion of no confidence on an ANC mayor and that motion gets successful? That's the extent to which this revolution must undergo some deep self-introspection. The decline of the broader liberation movement is a major issue of concern for us as the SACP. MPLA just won the elections just about 51%, Comrade President, a few weeks ago. ZANU-PF has struggled to win decisive majority. We performed below 50% in the 2021 local government elections as the ANC. The fortunes of the liberation movement is declining. When you look at, for instance, who was the main contest against ZANU-PF? I mean, MPLA in Angola. It's an organization called UNITA of Jonas Savimbi that killed many of our comrades. that killed many Angolans. But of course, it's an Angolan issue to deal with the question of national unity in Angola. But literally, this is the organization that seeks and contests almost to the tilt the liberation movement of Agostinho Neto. The same freedom front here of members who fought in Angola against the Cuban forces, who wanted to reverse the Angolan revolution because it took the direction of socialism. They sponsored a motion to remove an ANC mayor, and it succeeded. Who's contesting Frelimo in Mozambique? Renamo. A very violent force, reactionary force. Of course, President Nyusi, which we congratulate for his re-election unanimously as the leader of Frelimo, is doing very well to rebuild peace and to unite the country and to develop the country, despite these many challenges that Frelimo, Mozambique only enjoyed 1 year of peace since liberation. It suffered a lot. What are we doing ourselves to protect this liberation movement, the bulwark of this region, South Africa? We are no longer following our posture, Comrade President, as a liberation force. And this is worrying. So we need to change in the manner that we do things. And therefore, the ANC and the alliance cannot own the capitalist crisis in our country. Our task is to end the capitalist crisis because we've got political power to do so. Now we have a crisis where we own the crisis of capitalism as if it's our own. And now the people have identified this crisis as a crisis of the movement because of poor leadership. So we need deep introspection on this matter as a movement. But the question of leadership, Comrade President, lastly, as I go to the international side, it's a question that is also affecting the international community. We have seen, for instance, that internationally, there's no leadership. The capitalist forces have united against the progressive forces. The world system, for instance, which was developing into a multipolar system, deepening democracy internationally, and therefore reversing the old order system of power, is disintegrating. Europe and the USA, using their armed wing NATO, are reversing this. They are attacking every other region of the world. Now they are even plunging the whole world into war. Possibly the whole of Europe now has aimed its arsenal against Russia. Almost a massive catastrophe is facing humanity because of reckless leaders of Europe and the USA who continue to fan wars all over the world in order to make profit and nothing else. These wars are economic wars of capitalism. Capitalism doesn't know peace and doesn't want peace. It strives under wars. They are subjecting the world working class to untold misery. And therefore we need to pledge solidarity with many of our revolutionary movements all over the world fighting against capitalism. In this regard, we need to pledge solidarity with our comrades in Russia who are fighting against the entire world almost of Europe and the USA. We need to pledge our solidarity equally in the socialist axis of the world, where the USA and its European counterparts are trying to weaken socialism and socialist projects in China, for instance. Because even this war against Russia, the ultimate target is China. Why China? China is today leading the world in the development of productive forces, that is, instruments of productions, the machines that produces other machines for services and goods of society. It has almost technologically gone ahead of the USA, which was leading this terrain for many years. So this is the fight, what the fight is about. But the proxy is being used through Ukraine. And therefore, we need to pledge solidarity with the working class and to call for end to all imperialist wars in the world. We are now risking, or the world is on the risk of a nuclear war. And this must be avoided by all means possible. World leaders must come together. I saw the UN General Assembly, just basic rhetoric, nothing tangible to end wars. And majority of these wars are provoked by the USA. And the COSATU International Report actually expressed that much more clearly. In this regard, we need to pledge our continued solidarity as the movement with the people of Cuba, for instance, who continue to suffer massive inhuman economic blockade imposed by the USA, and they are part of their territory of Guantanamo Bay occupied by the US forces. Despite resolutions by the UN, it's life as usual, business as usual, as they say. The occupation of a Cuban territory. We need appropriate solidarity, tangible solidarity. That is why this Congress must come with a resolution to support the government's humanitarian measures to the people of Cuba who are today suffering because of this continued blockade by the USA. They are not even allowed to even import syringes, even during the COVID-19, because of this blockade. It's inhuman and unacceptable. The same thing that they try to impose huge sanctions on Venezuela, the Bolivarian Republic. We must pledge solidarity with Venezuela equally, with Bolivia, with Nicaragua in Latin America, and other progressive forces that are emerging in that region. In Africa, of course, we have Western Sahara, the last colony on the continent that must continue to be supported by all of us. And we have here, just next door, in Swaziland, a monarch, absolute monarch, that is butchering the people of Swaziland. We need tangible solidarity, and South Africa cannot just adopt a mere diplomatic posture for the liberation of the people of Swaziland. Swaziland is not free by any constitutional platform, it's not. The king is an absolute monarch, controls legislative, judicial, as well as executive powers. No democracy at all. So we need to support democratic forces there in a tangible way through even our democratic government. We can't have a government that closes its eyes when there are these atrocities happening next door. And we need to intensify not only interventions in Cabo Delgado in Mozambique, but a tangible solidarity program of development with the people of Mozambique, who have taken too much for the region. So these are revolutionary questions that we must deal with at this Congress. And of course, Comrade President, our solidarity with the people of Yemen and Syria, who are also at wars instigated by the US. These are issues that we must not be flinching as this Congress, including an unflinching solidarity with the people of Palestine, who continue to suffer under Israeli aggression, the apartheid Israel. And we have taken resolutions on this. They are not implemented as of the alliance. It's becoming extremely disrespectful that resolutions of the revolutionary movement are not being implemented because the government doesn't see itself having to implement a revolutionary program. This is not to say, comrade, when we criticize government, because it's the platform in which we have expressed ourselves for the leadership of society as a movement. It's not to disrespect our comrades in government. We are simply saying there must be clear revolutionary agenda for the implementation of a movement elected by the people to run the transformation program in our country. And the party will always be found amongst you as we proceed in these struggles ahead. This time, and no other time, but this time, the working class has to stand up for itself. As we do so, we must take all levers of power, of control of the revolution, to direct the new agenda to end poverty in our country, to end food insecurity in our country, and make sure that the revolutionary movement does not lose political power. If we lose political power, comrades, as a revolutionary movement, let alone the decision that you might take as Congress, generally as a revolutionary movement, this spells disaster for all of us, for our families, for all of you, for our country. We have already seen, Comrade President spoke about some of these matters in an opening address. We have already seen the targets that have been clarified by some of the forces that are anti-people, and yet they are in government because the people are despondent with the way we behave. All and everything for the revolution and nothing against this. That's what Fidel Castro will say. This will be our message to this Congress. Forward to socialism, forward. Down with capitalism, down. Thank you very much, Comrade President.